As an IT professional, I get this question all the time. The question would be, how can I make my computer run faster? And this typically happens when you own a computer for a few years and then suddenly starts running slow. And there are a few reasons for why this happens. So we're just going to go ahead and go through each one of them, and I will quickly explain what's causing it, why the reason for that is, and what we can do about it, right? So let's go ahead and have a look at the reason number one, not enough RAM, right? So without going into too much detail, you guys already know what the RAM is, but in case you're wondering, you can think of this weird analogy that I have for RAM. Think of a bus that has so many seats, and it can only carry so many people, right? In our case, data. This is what RAM is for. When we run out of space on that bus, that's when we run out of RAM. So let's have a look at how much RAM we have right now and what it's doing. So if you go down here into your taskbar, you can go ahead and right click and your toolbar. If you just hover over your toolbar here, just right click anywhere, you can select your task manager. And what this will do will actually show you how much of your RAM is actually being processed, how much is being used, I should say, and how much it's free, and what else it needs to do once it runs out of RAM. Now, if you're in Windows 10, this is how it'll look initially. If the first time you open up a task manager, this is how it's going to look like. It's going to be very simple because they don't want people to find out about things. Okay, I'm just kidding. That may not be the case. But if you click here, more details, you can expand it and you'll get a lot more. But what we want to look at for now is a performance tab. If you click on performance tab and select memory, you will see how much RAM you have installed in your computer, how much it's free, and how much is cached, and how much is available, obviously. So in our case, out of total of 3.8 gigabytes, as you can see here, that's our total. Out of 3.8 gigabytes of physical RAM that we have available for processing, 2.1 of that is being used, and free or available, if you will, it's 1.7 gigabytes, right? But the thing is, though, once we run out of this RAM, right now we're good. Right now we're good. We're using a little bit more than half. Once we run out of that, we will start using our page file, which is located on our hard drive. And our hard drives tend to be slow, especially older hard drives. They have disks inside of them. They're not like solid state drives where it's a lot faster. They will start to spin, and they would take forever to use that virtual memory, which is created here. By the way, 5.2 gigabytes is virtual memory that's allocated for this computer. So once I run out of 3.8 here, once this goes down to 1.7, I will start using this. And for that to happen, my computer and CPU and hard drive has to start working super hard. And that's how you will know that you need to upgrade your RAM, right? That's one reason. So this will be 0, and this would be maxed out at 3.8, right? See how it actually went down to 1.6, something else kicked off and is obviously using it, right? And once we run it up, we will be starting to use our virtual RAM, which slows things down, right? So now that's how we know if we have enough RAM. So let me just go ahead and close this. So the second reason is a background service is taking up our processing. There are a couple of reasons for this, but let me go ahead and show you one main reason that I've seen that will actually do this, right? That takes up a lot of resources and start to use your hard drive and your CPU intensively. Let's go back to our task manager and let me show you here. The first thing you'll see is processes. And this is actually a perfect example. We have, right now, I am using a screen recorder that is using 30% of my CPU, right? So I'm still good. So that means I can still open up different things, but I have 30% of CPU currently being used, and RAM, and how much of read and write. But typically what I've seen is a antivirus software, like in my case, Immunoprotect. Sometimes this will spike up to 99%, or even, you know, you would never see a single process go out of 100. It would just say 100% here. But if you click on that, you will see what else is using up that processing power. So if you see your CPU pegging at 99%, look at the services that are running. Chances are that your antivirus is running in the background. And if that's happening, that means it's doing a scan, and that's perfectly normal. That's perfectly normal, and then we just need to let it finish, right? Or you can stop it if you want to. But this is what's happening. In my case, for this case of example, OBS is just a screen recording, and it's using up 30%. But you know, that's basically the gist of it, of what could be causing your slowness as a background service, right? So let me just minimize this because we're going to use this again. A second reason is, or I should say, a third reason is you have a virus. So similar, one way to find out that you have a virus that's running in the background, probably using your computer as I don't know, as a zombie. You guys probably have seen that, or any type of. It would basically kind of hide itself as a background service. That's what would happen. So if you go back to our services, right? Let's say sticky notes here is a virus. A lot of times viruses will hide themselves as a name of a system process that will be running in the background. So sometimes you would have sticky notes for some reason taking up 99% of your CPU. That's a virus. If you have anything that looks, a lot of times actually a virus will disguise itself as something that looks vague and, you know, typical that you would see. But like something like here, service host, you know, it would name itself that looks something like this. It would say service host, and it's taking up 99% of your CPU, right, of your processing, and now your computer is running slow because you have a virus. And that's a perfect way of how to tell if you have a virus, right? And then you can kill it, and then a lot of times it would just come back up. That's why we need to let that previously talked about antivirus software finish what it's doing, you know, so that way you can, you know, resolve this issue. Okay, let's minimize this code and go back to the fourth thing. Fourth thing is you simply have a local profile that is bloated. So let's have a look at our local profile. What is local profile? It's basically your login name and your giant folder of things that you have on your computer. So let's have a look at mine. If you go local C, right? If you go to C, if you go to C drive and then go to users, and then look at your profile. This is my local profile called Koboman. This is the name that I use to log into this computer. I can see how much of it is in size, basically. So if you hover over it, as you can see, it's only 279 megabytes because it's a fairly new profile, you know. But sometimes they can be so large that and have corrupted cache data in the background that could cause some of these issues. And sometimes the best thing to do is actually to basically redo or delete this profile and create a new one. So how can we do this? Now, be very careful if you ever try to do this, because I don't want you to lose any documented data. Because if you go inside of your local profile, you will have all your documents, right? You will have all your documents, your favorites, all kinds of different things, everything that's on your desktop, everything. So be careful if you decide to delete this because you have a corrupted profile that's causing you issues, causing you slowdowns. You will lose all of your documents, right? So the reason, just kind of to reiterate, the reason your local profile could be causing issues if it's bloated and it's old and it has old cache data and it's just running slow, right? So you want to get rid of it, nuke it. Okay, so let's see how to do that. If you go to your system properties, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on this here, or you can just type in system properties down here and look it up for yourself. But if you go to system properties, you can go to your advanced system settings, and this is the proper way of deleting your local profile. If you in your main advanced tab here, so the advanced will be the middle tab. If you kind of look down in the middle here, it says user profiles, desktop settings related to your sign-in, right? So if you go and click here, if you click on settings, you will see all the different local profiles that are installed on your computer. Here's my Koboman local profile, right? And that's the size of it. And you can see the one that's used by my mom. It's quite larger, right? So this is what you would probably see. And here, over here, you can see where last time it was used, right? This is the date. Last time it was modified, typically the last time it was used. So if I want to delete Koboman or my mom, right, I would just select that and select delete, right? At this point, I can't do it because I'm already logged in, so this won't let me do it. But typically, you would do this with your brand new profile. You create your own new user account, right? So see, it says here, to create a new user account, you can just simply go to user accounts, or you can just search for it. Create a new one, right? Create a new one, and then you log in with your new one, go back to here, and then your button to delete will be available. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing that could be causing your issues. I'm just going to close this. Next thing, it could be your computer needs updates, right? So if you haven't updated your computer for a long time, Microsoft is notorious for taking up a lot of resources in order to update your computer. So you would run it, you suddenly open, you run your computer, you turn it on, you haven't used it for a month, and then suddenly it's running so slow you can't do anything. And then what's happening is that updates are running in the background, right? One way you can check that is obviously through the task manager. If you go to the task manager, you can see that the update service is running here, and you can see that it would be taking up a lot of processing, just similarly here to the OBS. So if that's the case, obviously let your computer, finish what it's doing. But sometimes I like to go here and just kind of click the update button, let it finish everything, and then once it's done, it may take a long time. Your computer will be running slow. There is really no way around it. And then once you restart once or twice, you'll be done with that. And then hopefully, once you log back in, it will be all done and over with, and your computer will be running fast again. So that's another big reason that your computer would be running slow, especially if you don't have enough RAM and this and that, or processing power. And the last thing I have listed here is just hard drive going bad. A lot of times your hard drive would be just simply going bad. Like I said, if you have an old computer and it's a regular type of hard drive, and it might have corrupted issues, maybe just physical issues with the hard drive itself, it could just be running really bad. And then one way to actually check that is to run a scan on your hard drive, right? So the way you do that is, a lot of times, this type of thing varies from computer to computer. In my case, this is just a cheap gateway laptop, right? I would have to basically restart my computer, go here, and then reboot my computer. See, you can tell here, I just kind of wanted to go back to this updates. See, I have an update that hasn't finished, but I need to update and restart. But if you restart here, you will get to the point at your post where you can select system diagnostic. And then after that, once you go to the system diagnostic, for your model, it's going to be different for everybody. I really wouldn't be able to tell you exactly which one it is. You would go in and run your diagnostic for your hard drive. You can do a full hardware system diagnostic, and that's one way to see if your hard drive is going bad. Even your RAM could be bad, right? So this is what we have to do. A lot of I know older HP computers, Hewlett Packard computers, you could download a CD that would have a diagnostic system on it. You would reboot your computer, and it would load up to that CD with a diagnostic software, and then you would just complete it, and you would see if those are type of issues. There might be a couple of other issues that I've just forgot to mention. I apologize for that, but these are the most typical reasons why your computer would be running slow, right? I'm not gonna bore you anymore with this type of stuff, but you kind of at least that will get you on the right track. And best of luck to you guys. All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.